Hello students, in the last session we have studied iteration statements in Java. In today's session we will study jumping statements in Java. The jumping statements are the control statements which transfer the program execution control to a specific statement in the program. Java has three types of jumping statements. They are break, continue, and return. These statements transfer execution control to another part of the program. So let's discuss these jumping statements one by one. Okay, so let's start. First statement, it is the break statement or the break keyword. So the break keyword is used to stop the entire loop. As we know, the loop stops execution when the condition is false, but we can even stop the loop in between by using break keyword. The break keyword must be used inside any loop or switch statement. The keyword can be used inside a loop or the switch statement. The break keyword will stop the execution of the innermost loop and start executing the next line of code after the block. So break statement will stop the execution of the loop where the break keyword is included, and it simply starts execution after that particular block. Okay, let us see the syntax of break. It is very simple. The keyword, break, and semicolon. So this is how we can use a keyword break or break statement. Okay, let us see one example on break statement. So we have a Java program here, a simple Java program with a class name test. We have the main function, public static void main. Inside the main, if you look at the first statement over here, this is array declaration in Java. So we have created an integer array. You can see array brackets here, and the name of the array is numbers. We will study in detail about array in next session. Here just we will see how array is created here. So array name is numbers, and the values which have been stored in array, it is 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So these are the values which are stored in an array, and the name of the array is numbers. Okay, so this is the array declaration as well as initialization. After that we have a loop. You can see for int of x colon numbers. Again, this is one more different type of loop which can be used in Java. We call it as for each loop, and this type of loop is usually used with arrays, and this loop helps iterate through the elements in the array. Now let us see how this loop works. So we have for int of x, this is a variable, and numbers, it is the name of our array. How this loop works? Every time the loop executes, one value from the variable numbers is assigned to x. Again, the values are assigned in sequence. Look at the values of numbers. The values are 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. The first time when the loop executes, the first value, that is 10, is assigned to x. So the first time x is equals to 10. x is equals to 10. Then the loop executes. Inside the loop we have if condition if x is equals to 30. If you look at the value of x, it is 10. So 10 is equals to 30? No, it is false. If it is false, if condition is not executed, we will directly go out of the if. After the if, we have statement that is system.out.print x. We are printing the value of x, so it will print the value of x, that is 10. Then what we are doing is we have one more statement, system.out.print. We are printing a new line character. That means after printing 10, the cursor will come to the next line. So your cursor will be in the next line. Now if you look at this, after this particular line we have a closing bracket, and this is the closing bracket of our for loop. So from this particular bracket it again goes back to for. It is a loop, again it repeats. The next time the loop is executed, the next value in numbers will be assigned. Initially 10 was assigned, the next value is 20. So 20 is assigned. 20 is assigned to x the next time. So x is equals to 20 now. Again it comes inside the loop. If x is equals to 30, 20 is not equals to 30. Again it is false. Again it is false. So it is false. It will not enter the if condition. It will simply go to the next statement after it. So next statement again it is system.out.print x. So this time it will print the value that is 20. Again after 20 the cursor is moved to the next line. Then again from here again it goes back to for x is equals to now the next value that is 30. X is equals to 30. Now when x is equals to 30, it will go to the condition x is equals to 30. Now the value of x is 30. So this condition, this time it is true. And when the condition is true, we are executing the statement that is break statement. And when you execute a break statement, break as it is defined, it simply terminates the loop where the break statement is declared. Now the loop, the break statement, it is declared inside this particular for loop, and when the break is executed, the control is transferred outside the loop. So control will come outside the loop, that is outside the closing bracket. This is the closing bracket of loop. So control will be transferred outside the loop at this particular position. And after this, if you look at, we have all closing brackets. We don't have any code after that particular point. So program will stop here. So this is how a break statement can be used. And break will simply terminates the execution at that particular, terminates the execution of a loop at that particular time. And if you look at the output, what our program has printed, our program has only printed 10 and 20. Okay, this is how a break keyword or a break statement can be used. Okay, let's move to the next statement. The next statement is continue statement. The continue statement, a continue keyword, can be used in any of the loop control structures. It causes the loop to immediately jump to the next iteration of the loop. So by using when continue statement is executed, it will simply skips the current iteration of the loop, and the control is directly transferred to the next iteration in the loop. In a for loop, the continue statement or the continue keyword causes the flow of control to immediately jump to the update statement. Now, if you're using a continue statement inside a for loop, it causes the control to go back to the update statement. Now, the update statement in the for loop is, for loop has three parts: initialization, condition, and increment and decrement. That increment and decrement section, it is also called as update statement section. So when you execute a jump statement, that is continue statement, it will directly go to the increment or decrement section of the for loop. So it skips the iteration at that point and it continues with the increment and decrement section of the for loop. In a while loop or do while loop, flow of control immediately jumps to the Boolean expression. If you are using while or do while loop, and inside that if you have a continue statement, then the control is transferred to the Boolean expression, that is condition checking statement, when you execute a continue statement. Okay, syntax of continue statement, it is very simple. Okay, syntax is simply continue. So this is very simple syntax of continue statement, like a break statement. So let us look at how continue statement can be used with different kinds of loops. So in the first example, the continue statement has been used with the while loop, and in the second example the continue is used with do while, and in the third it has been used with for loop. Now if you look at the while loop, if some condition is true, continue statement will be executed, and when the continue is executed, the control is transferred back to the Boolean expression part, that is condition checking part. Again, you may have some statement after the continue, you may have some statement here, but when the continue is executed, all the statements after the continue are skipped, means are not executed. The control will simply transferred back to the conditional part. Now in case of do while loop, we have if some condition, and if the condition holds, the continue statement is executed, and when the continue is executed, the control is transferred back to the Boolean expression, that is condition checking. So as I have said, again, even in do while you may have some statement down here, those statements are skipped, are not executed. Now in case of a for loop, when you execute a continue statement, then the control is transferred to the update section or to the increment decrement section of a for loop. This is our increment decrement section in a for loop. The control is transferred to that particular section, and the control variable may be incremented or decremented, and again the loop starts its next iteration. So all the statements in the current iterations are skipped, and it continues with the next iteration in the for loop. Okay, this is how a continue statement can be used with different kinds of loops. Okay, let us see one example on continue statement. So we have a similar example here. We have a class test, then we have a main function. Inside the main function, again we have declared a variable array, variable numbers with the same values, and we have a for each loop x colon numbers. So as I've told you, initially the value 10 is assigned to x, so x is equals to 10. Then we are checking inside the loop, we are checking x is equals to 30. Initial value, as I've told you, the value of x is 10, so 10 is not equals to 30. This is false. When this is false, continue is not executed, directly it will go to the next statement and it will print x. So you can say it will print the value that is 10. Again slash n, cursor to the next line. From this point, again it goes back, sorry, to the for loop here. Again the next number is assigned from this numbers, so the next value is 20 is assigned to x. So x, is it equals to 30? No. X is equals to 20. Again it is false. As it is false, the statements after the if condition, that is printing statement, it will print the value of x. So value of x now it is 20. Then the cursor is moved to the next line again. Then again from this, again it goes back to for. The next value is 30. It is assigned to x. This time x is equals to 30 is true, because the value of x is 30. Now as the value of x is 30, this we are executing continue statement. And when we execute continue statement, as I have told you, the control is transferred back to the for. So that is the increment. Here we have for each kind of for loop. So control is transferred back to this part where the next value from the array is assigned to x. The next value in the array it is 40. So 40 is assigned to x. Now look at here, after this particular if condition also we have two statements, that is print x and print /n. These statements are not executed. Whenever you execute continue, from this particular point the control is transferred again back to our for. So it will execute the next iteration. So next value is assigned, that is 40 to x. Again it will come here, it will check 40 is equals to 30, condition is false. Condition is false. As the condition is false, if is not executed, it will execute system.out.print and it will print the value of x. So value of x right now it is 40. So it will print 40 and /n. Again, as it reaches the end of the loop, again from this point it will go back to the loop. Again the next value is assigned, that is 50 is assigned to x. 50 is equals to 30, again it is false. As it is false, it will execute print x. So it will print value of x, that is 50. Then /n, the cursor is moved to the next line. Again from here it goes back to for. Now do we have any other value in this variable numbers? No. 50 was the last value. So as there is no value to be assigned to x, the loop ends, and from that particular point when the loop ends, it will come out of the for loop and the statements after the for are executed. There are no statements if you look at after the for. So program ends here, and if you look at the output, we have this output 10, 20, 40 and 50. One iteration which prints value 30 is skipped because of continue statement. Now this is how a continue statement can be used inside a for loop. Okay. The next type of statement, it is the return statement or the return keyword. We have used return keyword or the return statement inside the functions. So return statement is useful to terminate a method and come back to the calling method. So return statement can be used to terminate a method and the control is transferred back to the calling method. Return statement in main method terminates the application. If you include a return statement inside the main method, that will simply terminates your application and the control is transferred back to the operating system, because main method is generally executed inside the operating system. So the main method, when you use a return statement inside the main method, the control is transferred back to the operating system. Return statement can be used to return some value from method to a calling method. So return statement can be used to send some value to the calling method or a calling function. Let us look at the syntax of return statement. Okay, this is the syntax of return statement. Simply the keyword return when you want to transfer the control to the calling method, or you can, if you want to send a value to a calling method, you can use a syntax that is return space value. So return space value to send a value along with the control. If you want to simply send a control back, if you do not want to send any value, then you can simply use return. Okay, let us see one example based on return statement now. So we have a class return demo. Inside that we have a public static void main, and inside the main we have declared a variable t, a boolean variable having value true. Then boolean variable can have only two values, that is true or false. So this boolean variable t is having value true. Then we have a statement system.out.print before the return. Then we have a condition that is if t in the sense if the value of t is equal to true, and if you look at the value of t, it is true. So if it is true, we are executing return. And as I've told you, when we execute return, then, and that too inside the main method, if you look at where the return is executed, return is inside the main method. When return statement is included inside the main method, it will simply terminate your program. So the control is transferred out of the program. So control is transferred to the operating system. The statements after the return, that is statement system.out.print. So this particular statement will not be executed because from this point the control is transferred out of the program. So this is how we can use a return statement. Now in this particular example we have used a return statement inside the main method, but it is also possible to use return statement inside other methods in the program. And if you use return statement in other methods, the control is transferred to the calling method. From where the method is called, there the control will return. Okay, so this is about the jumping statements in Java. So we have studied three jumping statements, that is break, continue and return. Okay, that's it for today's session. We will stop here. Thank you.